everyone, and welcome to the beautiful Partridge Lakes on Pine Lake. I flipping love this lake. And today we are doing another one, this time on little babby methods. So little tiny method chucks where, you know, you go to venues where them fish can be sometimes just a little bit out of pole range, or it might be where you're starting off your session before moving on to the pole, sort of like later on into the session when the fish are really having it. The beauty of like now, this time of year, we are just coming into the second week of February. It's still a bit cold, but it's officially not as cold as what it has been. So things are starting to wake up. The fish are definitely starting to wake up. You've only got to look at the results from the previous weekend, apart from my result, but we won't go into that. You know, F1s are feeding up and down the country, as are the carp are starting to wake up. The bigger silvers are starting to wake up, so you can almost start to give them a little bit more bait. So we're being very selective today on the little babby methods. We're just going to be using micros around the method and fishing micro band and wafters. I've got a selection of colours which we'll come to in a bit, but I want to get across that it's not all about, you know, starting off on a pole. Some of you might not even have like long poles that can cheeky, that can reach across, and you might want to just wait a little bit into the session before them fish will, you know, quite confidently come into the pole line. You know, if you've only got margin poles, you will catch down the margins like from now onwards, I'm going to say, but there'll be a time in the day when they will come into it. So by starting off on a little method over a sort of traditional feeder or like a banjo or hybrid style feeder, the beauty of a method is obviously it's that bait, that release of bait pretty much straight away. Excuse me. We're not chucking into deep water either. I probably still would go down the hybrid banjo route if I was chucking into 5 foot plus, that kind of thing, but where we are now on Pine, we're chucking into like 3 foot. Not chucking near the far bank as well, but we can come on to that later on. First thing I want to do is go through baits with you. So all we've got already done in there are 2mm Fin Perfect. So what I've done with these, completely soaked them for around, I'm going to say a minute, no, 2 minutes maybe, something like that. Drained them and then put them in a big bowl. The reason for putting them in a big bowl is to get all the air into them. It will take at least, I'm going to say up to half an hour for these pellets to get right. So it might be something you want to do at home before you even get to your venue. You know, certainly match conditions, or if you're going out for a pleasure session, do it at home. Then by the time you get on the bank, then pellets will be perfect. They feel too dry, but they're really sticky. Now you can put some sticky method pellets in them if you want, but for what I want today, this mix is absolutely perfect. If it was bright and really dry, then obviously cover these with a towel just to keep them, you know, out of that sun. Not that we get any flipping sun until, you know, May comes or something like that, but just keep them a little bit dry. Now to mix it up a little bit, obviously they're straight out of the bag, which is perfect. They'll work. I want to colour them. Now you know how much I love colourings. I'm convinced, folks, that they do make a difference. It's all up there. If you think something makes a difference in your fishing, then try it, because quite often the results speak for themselves. So if you're confident in something, give it a try. The more often than not, it works for you. So in an empty maggot tub that I've cleaned out to the best of my ability, all I'm going to do is get, not a big handful, just get a few in there, maybe a few more, get a few micros in there, 2mm, and then put your favourite haze on. I love them all. Pineapple and coconut, the bloodworm one I've loved. I love the spicy sausage, but chocolate orange. The fish are starting to wake up. They want that little bit of sweet. They are starting to eat, so give them a little bit of bait. Onto them pellets, I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of the old chocolate orange on. You don't need loads, that's more than enough for them. Put the lid back on. And then all I'm going to do, before I get my fingers in there, just give them a little shake. I'll bring this round in a sec, just to show Jakey what we're creating in there. But what you'll find is them pellets, see them turning, yeah, that orangey colour. And then you'll see the difference when I do mix them in with my other micros. It's just a little bit of fleck of colour. I'm convinced that not only has it got that nice sweet chocolate orange smell and taste of them, but obviously if I put a few in there so you can really see the difference, look at the state of that. So they're the natural ones and they're the chocolate orange ones. Now all I'm going to do is combine them two, just so there's a little bit of speck of colour in there, a little bit of flavour. I'm convinced, folks, that it does make a difference. So there's my main bowl in there, and you see what you've got there? Just got specks of the chocolate orange 2mm Thin Perfects just running through the mix. So, you know, not loads by any means, you just want the odd little speck in there just running through, just so it makes a bit of a difference. A little babby method, and then the micro band and wafters, I've got krill and squid, I've got fluoro, and I've got banoffee. Swap and change, you know, you've seen me fish, you know, these kind of methods loads and loads over the years. 2 or 3 casts on one colour, then I'm changing, unless I get fish on that colour, and then I'll stick with it. I'm normally always, as you know, folks, I love pink, orange and yellow. Not necessarily in that order, and that's why them flipping the specials are so good, but obviously that's for bigger fish. But for this style of fishing, the micro band and wafters, they're absolutely superb. So that's all my bait covered, nice and simple. As I said, make sure you do them pellets first thing you do when you get your peg, or on the morning of your session. Next, let's come on to the setup. And which way is going to be better for you? I'll come that way, Jakey, that's going to be better for you, isn't it? So first things first, now we've only got, it's probably 19, 20 metres to the far bank here. You don't want big rods. I mean, if you've only got 11 footers, obviously it'll do, but ideally no more than a 10 foot. I've got a 9 foot Superior X rod today with our lightest tip in, which is an ounce tip. And it's just perfect for like showing the bites up. So nice short rods just for like little casts, because you're not giving it loads. Reel size, 4,000 size reel for feeder fishing. You get away with a smaller, like Waggler style size as well today, like a 3,001. But 4,000 is about right. Now, you know how particular I am with the line on the spools, folks. I always say, make sure you load them spools right up to the max. Let me just move that round, Jake, just so you can get in that. Yeah. Now that, as you can see, is not to the max. The reason being is, myself and J-Lad did a challenge a few weeks ago where, if you'd seen it, we're trying to break glass and the line got a little bit frayed, and I forgot to add some more line to it, and I forgot to bring my other spare spool. So just pretend that is loaded right to the lip with 6 pound sinking feeder mono. The best all-round line, you know, for all purposes, whether it's this time of year, summer fishing, it just does the lot. It sinks super quick, and it's really abrasion resistant, unless you're casting through glass, and it's not really abrasion resistant then. So make sure that's loaded. Obviously, the distance we're casting today, you know, that's not going to make a blind bit of difference. So that size reel, and then the business end itself, just let me unhook that from there, Jakey, and then I can talk you through this way. We have got the tiny little ICS method feeder system on there, so completely interchangeable. These you could put, if you think you're getting too many fish in your peg, I could take that method off and put a little ledger bomb on, like an inline lead, that kind of thing, or I could change it to a hybrid feeder if I needed to chuck in deeper water. But for today's purposes, just a little babby method on. It's a 20 gram one as well. What would make me take or use a heavier size method? If you're casting on quite severe slopes, you might want a 30 or even a 40, 45 gram method, things like that. If there's a lot of tow on the water, and the actual undertow was moving your feeder, that's when you need to go to heavy feeder. Or if you're casting a little bit further, that kind of thing, or it's really strong wind and you're punching it through the wind. But on chucks like this, 20 gram is usually more than enough. And that comes down to one of these ICS inline 360 beads. And all it is, you just need a little baiting needle just to pull the swivel out at the bottom, and then you can get your hook length into it like that. Now, hook length in this instance, I've just gone for a 16's GPMB with a little babby band on that's been, all right, folks, it's been rain damaged, a little bit of moisture got in the tub, but you know, it'll do. If I use a yellow one or a white one, it'll do. And I've got a 16 GPMB on, and that's 0.14 on a 4-inch hook length. Dead simple, nothing complicated with what we're doing. So because we're doing this in a oneer, well, we are literally going to go for it in one. Is that all right, Jakey? I've been given the okay. So I'm going to go pink to start off with, folks. You know how much I love, as I said, them 3 colours. So pink, this will get sort of two chucks, and then I'll change colour if I don't get a bite on it. So first things first, loading our feeder. Experiment. always about experimenting on the day, but always starting off with, I like to bury my hook bait. So what I'll do, I'll put a little babby layer in. I'll show you my little babby layer. So I'll squeeze that down. So that's my little babby layer in there, in the method first. Cheeky on that? Yeah, just covering sort of like the blue, if you like. Next thing I'll do is just put my hook bait over the top and just give it a light press down. And I'm going to try, if I can, without moving that hook length, come over here and just sprinkle some micros over, really overfill it, and then sort of with your thumb, just thumb them micros in. Sorry folks, just and then put your method over the top and give it a decent press down. I do like to press it down hard, just because the micros, as they are, as soon as it hits the bottom, they'll start breaking out, and that's what you're left with. So it's the same layer on the top as on the bottom, and by that I mean I've not got a softer layer on top and a harder layer on the bottom, which you can change later on. It's all the same layer, but my hook bait is underneath. So when that goes on the bottom, starts breaking out, my visible pink band and wafter will be there for all to see. And now casting wise, these little tiny chucks like this, don't ever bring your feeder, your method right the way up to your rod tip. You want a good sort of, I'm going to say 4 foot drop, something like that. Swing it out slightly. I've got my marker, I've got 2 trees over there, and it's just a light cast. Bring that back, hit the clip, and then sink your line. I do like to sink my line on these little chucks. Heights of summer, when the fish are really on it, I won't bother sinking my line. I'll literally just put it on the rest straight away. And then you're just waiting. So I'm going to tighten down to that, just so we've got a tiny bend in it. I don't want much of a bend in it, because there's still a chance of catching some skimmers. The next thing I'm going to do is come over to my stopwatch, which is so important. Get it on the right mode. Doink. And that, your first, again, because the fish are starting to wake up a little bit, I'm going to say your first 2 or 3 casts, 3 minutes. As you know before, I do like me sort of like 3-minute casts. What I can do is just get a little bit of feed in here again, so it's nice and quick for my next cast. So I've loaded that up. If you find that, like, I've had a bite by now, my next cast, I put my hook bait in first and then my micros on top, so that my hook bait is the first thing they see. Other days it might be really good leaving your hook bait out. It's all about experimenting on the day. Or it might be a case of that first layer in there, put it in really hard, and then put your hook bait in, a little babby layer on top, and squeeze that ever so softly, just so that breaks out straight away, but you've still got that hard layer of pellets, so the fish can be, mooching around, and obviously it's keeping bait in the swim a lot longer. So we're coming up to a minute now, not had any signs. Usually it's going to take, I'd say 2 or 3 casts, just to get a little bit of bait in and get them fish going. There has been a few fish moving, so hopefully they'll be active today. I can't see them not being, to be fair. I say I've been out apart from Saturday, but last week the fish were definitely on the feed. I was out yesterday and they were going nuts yesterday. So, and it's just as warm. We're sort of like on. It's 7-8 degrees overnight and getting to like 9, 10, possibly 11 if you live down south. That is degrees through the day, and the fish are loving it. Just starting to get a little bit of extra daylight as well. February's always a good time for catching fish, I think. We've definitely left the worst of the weather behind us. I've said that, Anna. It's coming a little bit colder this weekend, but once you get this warm weather and that extra light, the fish do start to feed really well. Usually when there's obviously fish in the peg, you start getting a few little taps. It might be that we need to leave it a little bit more than 3 minutes, but my first 2 casts, I just want to get some bait in. It's all about just getting a little bit of bait in, and then after my second cast I'm going to leave it sort of 5-6 minutes. Not like proper winter style where you might be leaving it 10, 12, 15 minutes, that kind of thing. Because the fish are active, they're wanting a little bit of bait, you can afford to give them a little bit, so regular casting. The other thing that's worthwhile doing as well, I think, is where I'm casting to there, I've probably got about 3.5 foot. Now I know that the fish are quite happy to feed in that, because I've been catching them shallow yesterday, 18 inches, so I know they will come into that depth. If you're not getting bites, just drop off a little bit. What you can do, obviously, if you're pleasure fishing and not in a match, you can use the same clip, but you know, cast round to the side, to your right, to your left, just so you're casting in deeper water. Or if you, see, we had a little sign then. Now that was bang on 3 minutes. We had a little indication, so I'm just going to leave that a little bit longer. I never like to move my feeder out if I get a little indication, just in case it goes. I'm just going to slacken off that a little bit. Just got a little bit of a bit too much tension on that. So yeah, if you're in a match, what you do is just come back down the shelf a little bit. So maybe come back with your rod a little bit more, just so you're hitting that clip further back, so you're coming into deeper water. But the other side of that is, you know, this time of year, it might be, because we've got, I want to say 12 to 14 inches right tight across. And I mean, in the summer, that's where all the fish are. You see them with their tails out. I wouldn't have thought they'd be in that depth of water this time of year. But if I'm not getting liners there, then it might be that, just see another fish top out there on the same line that I'm fishing. It might be the fish that are going into that shallow water. It's all about trial and error. See, again, it's moving. We're coming up to 4 minutes now, and we had another movement. I'm a bit reluctant to bring that in a minute, so I might just leave this at 5 minutes. If I hadn't have had that, them signs, 100% after 3 minutes I'd have brought it back, give it another 3 minute casts, and then it'd be like my 5-6 minute casts that I'm used to. But changing the hook bait as well. Remember, sort of 2 or 3 casts, change that hook bait, and there will be a colour that the fish like. So come to 4.5 minutes, no other signs. I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring that back and have another chuck there. Still with a pink on, and loading it exactly the same. So I've got my little layer in. Just speeds everything up. If you have that little layer in first, and then bring the other layer over the top, give them a little press down, method over, give that a nice healthy squeeze. Just perfect every time. And the beauty of them little tiny methods, the ICS ones, is that you're not putting loads of bait in, so you're not feeding the fish up too much. Just introducing the right amount of bait. It'll just be the same as what you put in, you know, for a little babby toss pot, that kind of thing. Right, I reckon we'll get one this time. Definitely fish in the area then. So I'll get that set up, and I'll reset. We had a little dink then. Right, doink, doink, doink. There we go. Right, so this is getting 3 minutes as well. And then it's going to be 5 or 6 minute casts after this one. What should I do? Yeah, I'm going to change colour after this one as well. I'll go to yellow, I reckon, after this one. So always be one of them 3 colours, folks. Always yellow, orange, pink. Just always, it is. But, you know, if you've got confidence in other colours, that's what fishing's all about. If you've got confidence in something, give it a go, try it. You just never know. Oh, when was that? That was 40 seconds. We had our first little indication. So I'm quite happy that there's a few fish around there, even though we're not had a proper bite. Flipping net, folks, give me a chance. You're only on my second chuck. I'm quite happy that there's a few fish around there. The fish that I have seen top, they have been on that line. Been a couple down the middle in the deep water, but there's been a couple of F1s top on that kind of line as well. It's just brilliant. It's so good when you know, obviously, what's around the corner. You know, spring's on its way, folks. You know, when we can get some proper feeding and what have you. But it's so good, I just love the lead up to it, because what you got to think is the fish, they've been in that winter slumber for so long. It's been so cold for so long and raining. It's been absolutely horrendous, the weather this year. And the fish want to feed, because they know next on the agenda is obviously spawning, so they've got to feed themselves up for spawning. That's why it's so good. So coming up to 1 minute 50 on this cast now. No other signs. The beauty of this though, it can just like, I mean, usually like that, you get like the odd little liner, so you know there's a fish there. But it could just as lightly just go like that. No warnings, no signs, just and your rod tip's bent from the butt, and there's a blooming wobbly carp or an F1 on, or a skimmer, or a roach, or a tench, or a cushion, anything to feed. That's the beauty of this style of fishing. You're being a little bit selective, I suppose. You're not going to catch all the silvers. You'll catch skimmers and bream on it, but it's mainly F1s and possibly carp. Although carp can be a little bit pongy still. Well, it's a little bit cold. F1's usually the first to, you know, proper switch on. Right, we are on 2 minutes 40, so it's getting another 15-20 seconds. Oh, but I'm getting the odd little liner. I don't want to leave this one as long as what I left that other one. I know there's fish coming into it, but it might be that I need to change a hook bait. It'll make all the difference. I've had it so many times, there's no coincidence in it. Until you find the right hook bait, honestly. Right, I'm not going to leave it. I'm going to come back, I'm going to change my hook bait to a yellow one. That's had it's 3 minutes. And we're going to catch one this time, folks. We are, I promise you, we're going to catch one. So let's put a little babby yellow one on. Little micro bandam wafter. There we go. Little layer, I forgot to put my little layer in. Oh, dare I. That right down towards the bottom. Little layer over the top. Oh, I thought it was a boozard, it's a bloody seagull. And then squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Right, here we go. Third cast. You always catch on your third cast. Do you see how I'm just feathering that in, yeah? Hitting the clip behind me, so it gives me enough line to sink the line without having it really tight behind my rod rest, so I can just move my rod up onto my rod rest. As I say, with it being flat calm, I could put my rod straight on the rest. There's not a problem in that, but I just like to sink the line this time of year. Just one of them things. Wait a little bit longer for the bites. Right, this one's going to go. Yellow's on. Yellow doesn't fail, folks. Promise you. Let's just start that again. Doink, doink, doink. Here we go. Let's fill that up. It's going to go, that. A few micros in there. And then, I reckon by 3 minutes this is gone. Definitely. Come on. You know why it is. If I get one on this one, you know why I'm catching on a yellow. So I've got a yellow tip on, haven't I? Got to match the hatch, haven't I? And then I've got orange, chocolate orange little micros in there. So I need to put an orange one on next. No, nothing pink anywhere. Got it wrong, haven't I? Blow me neck, folks, honestly. Right, come on. Coming up to 50 seconds. Confident. I'm not as confident than the other cast, but even more so on this. It's going to go. It's going to go. Go ahead. Oh. Indication on 1 minute 13. So I'm leaving this one 5 minutes as well. There's enough bacon in there now. One-off ones. Can't fail. A yellow can't fail. Just can't. Like it's impossible. It's not going to. Oh. Come on. Oh. Told you. What are we? 2 minutes, 5 seconds. What did I say about a yellow? Oh, that feels quite large. That might not be an F1. Unless it's a larger... it might be a bigger F1. So when you're playing the fish, folks, just keep everything nice and low. Yeah, don't lift it too high. I mean, you can get away, I suppose, with shorter rods. Make sure that drag's set pretty loose as well. I've only got 0.14 nut length on. It might be a bigger F1. Told you the yellow. What did I say about a yellow, folks? Oh, it's a nice one. So good. You've got to match. Look at that. Oh, is that hooked any better as well? Did you see where that was hooked? Let me show you. Hopefully the hook won't fall out in the net. Oh, look at the state. That is 10 out of 10, but the other way around. So let me show you, Jakey. Look, 10 out it is 10 out of 10, but the other way around. You in that? Jakey's on that. So, beautiful F1 to start with. Let me get him out. I'm going to show you him. He is stunning. That's what you can expect on these kind of waters. He's just over £2 him. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, there's still like ice cubes. They're still so cold, them fish, but it just shows you. So what was that? That was 3 casts. We caught that 2 minutes into our 3rd cast. Oh, right. He's burgled me yellow wafter. So we'll put another one on and just repeat the process. It's so good. I mean, obviously it can change throughout the day. You know, you might get quicker bites, you might get slower bites, and that'll determine how you load the method. You know, where you're casting, that kind of thing. It might be similar to sort of, you know, your pole fishing when you've got like one swim on the go. You catch well, but then it might be that you need to change lines after a bit because you don't want to exhaust the swims. It'd be the same in this. So if you had like a bit of a cast to the left, that kind of thing on the same line, obviously still clipped up, that might work really well. It's just all about experiment on the day, and that's why I love it so much. But that was, remember me saying before about a bite straight out of the blue? We had a few little taps on a few seconds in, and then that's just literally just come in, nailed it, and doink, 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 there we go, and just gone. So usually once you've had one, so there's been fish there from our very first cast. Now if that doesn't go to prove like a change in colour hook bait, I don't know what does. But then would we call that on a pink one as well? Don't get in my head like that, folks. But it usually is 3 casts. So your initial 2 casts, get a bit of bait in, then your 3rd cast, it's usually the same in the summer as well. That's usually when you catch your fish, and then you just steady away then. It's good, isn't it? You know how much I love fishing, folks, but when you, there's something there on 40 seconds. I think it was 40 seconds actually last time when we had that sign. When you can you can feed him a little bit, and you're like, every time, not like winter, every time your hand goes over here to feed some bait, you've got to slap it. Don't need to do that now, folks. So if you had like a pole swim on the go, like there'd be maggots going in left, right and centre now, or pellets, they're like usually the first decent fish to sort of wake up, if you like. See, get some signs there. F1s are usually the first on it. Carp, yeah, you will catch carp this time of year, but it's usually later on into the session. There'll be some venues obviously where they go nuts, but usually, certainly on these venues up north, it's normally F1s first, and then the carps sort of like a little bit later on. Well, I say F1s and everything else, like your skimmers, your bream and everything like that. It's just amazing. So we're coming up to 1.5 minutes on this one. That last one was I think it was just over 2 minutes when we caught that. And there's usually patterns to the fish as well when you start catching them, usually. You know, normally get your bites around 2 or 3 minutes. Is this one going to be the same? Just going to slacken off that ever so slightly. We're coming up to 2 minutes. So remember, I'm leaving him 5 minutes now, 5 or 6 minutes. If I go, what am I going to say? Because I've had signs every single cast that I've had, as soon as I go 2 or 3 casts, so like 10, 12 minutes without a bite, that's when I'd think about changing. You know, maybe casting a little bit to the left, dropping it shorter, deeper water, that kind of thing. Or, remember, 2 casts, or 2 or 3 casts on a coloured bait without a bite, change it again. So the next one that I try after this would be orange. Give that a try. If that doesn't work, then I go back to pink and work through them. Obviously I've got whites, but I mean, I've got some like little brown ones here that look like 4mm pellets. You know, they can work well. I've got white ones. It's confidence, folks. I've got some right bright blooming reddy orange ones as well. It's confidence. But, you know, used to say that the fish will have one thing over another. It's all about on the day. And that's just what you've got to work out. Right, so this has been in 3 minutes 10 now. But we've had signs from sort of 40 seconds in, so there's something around it. I'm leaving it this time. Oh, there's my little bandum there. Maybe I need to put that back on. That was the F1 Slayer. Go on, the fishes. It's so good. I mean, it's still early in the morning. There's still, I think we're on just after 11 o'clock. You know, the later on into the session it goes. Flipping heck. It can be almost like summer fishing sometimes this time of year. when they get their heads into it, literally casting in, it's gone. It's getting attacked straight away. It can be really good. Oh, look at that, so that was even shallow water. So it might be that I need to go, you know, chuck into shallow water. Who knows? How it is at the minute, I've had indications every time on that line. I'm a bit reluctant to change anything yet, just because it's still early days. But certainly later on into the session, if you've been fishing like 40 minutes to an hour and you've not really had many signs and you can see them in shallow water, then just chase them. And likewise, if you don't see any in shallow water and you're not getting any signs, go into deeper water. It's one of them. One of them. So 4.5 minutes and nothing. Now what I'd normally do is obviously 5 to 6 minutes, have another cast with this same colour on, but I'm going to change it. I'm going to put an orange one on. Even though we've had one on that yellow one, if we're having it, I thought that would have gone straight away again. So what I'll do is change to one of them bright orange ones, just to see. It might be one of them that I need to change colour every fish. We're bringing it back. Yeah, I'm going to bring that back. That's had 5 minutes. And I'll put an orange one on. Take that yellow one off and put a bright orange one on. Almost like I love fluoro pinkies this time of year, and fluoro maggots, that kind of thing. I think they're a superb bait. And that almost matches the hatch of them chocolate orange micros as well. So it might not be a bad shout, that, actually. Right, here we go. So remember, 4 to 5 foot drop, tiny little cast out. Bring that rod right behind you and feather that feeder in, so it's making as minimal disturbance as possible. And then sink that line. That goes on there, that goes on there. Tighten up to that little bit. And then doink, 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 and then wait. And load that up again. So what's this? This are 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our 5th cast. 5 casts and 1 fish. But I've had signs every cast, so they're obviously coming to that bait. So I would have stayed on a yellow, but I thought I'd just give orange a quick go and see what's what. I know Jay, for example, Jay lad, he loves white, but it's one of them. I know obviously bread works so well. I love using white maggots, but I don't ever remember having success on. Hey up, go on. That's a skimmer, that. Oh, it might not be. So how quick was that? That was 50 seconds just. Change the colour of bait again. You're telling me it don't make a difference? Come on, even Jake is like, oh yes Andrew, yes it does make a difference. Andrew, you know what you're talking about. Stop waffling, Andrew, and get the fish in. Sorry, Jakey. There's another good one, this, you know. That might be the same one. He's like, no, I'm going back for some more. So see how I'm playing him nice and low. Keep that pressure on. Oh, yes, it's a little ghosty F1. Oh, flip it, this is what Pine here at the beautiful Partridge Lakes is famous for, these little ghosty F1s. Yes! They're absolutely stunning. And that's like all the fish in these lakes, folks, especially in here in Pine. They're absolutely immaculate, these F1s. Oh, look where he's hooked again. Look where he is, Jakey. He's like 9 out of 10, but the opposite way around. You hearing it? Of course he's on it. Right. Look at the state of that. Oh, ghosty F1. Look at them. They're absolutely fin perfect, stunning. I'm going to say they're not even blooming caught before. They're absolutely amazing. They're still like ice cubes, but it just shows you how willing they are to feed. And I think I'm going to leave that there because I want to concentrate. Jakey's looking at me. He wants to blooming go as well. So it's more than likely I'll have to go and get the hot chocolates and the bruising for Jakey so he can like catch some fish, and then I'm going to go and catch some more fish. But I hope you've enjoyed that. I love all styles of fishing, but it's so good when you can finally introduce a little bit of bait. You've seen what we've done there. That was our 5th cast and 2 fish. Get a little bit of bait in first, and instantly it'll give you confidence if you start getting a few liners. But more importantly, how important is it to change the colour of your hook bait? There's no coincidence there that when I've changed my hook bait, I've caught fish every time. And it could be now I'll go on a pink one and catch one straight away. It's one of them. Experiment with that on the day, folks. But as I say, I'm going to get back. I'm going to get a brew, and I'll let Jakey have a go. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please, please, please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification button. And that's going to tell you when we're putting out these fantastic videos. Now leave me in peace. I'm going to catch me another one.